From Texas.
Commissioner, thank you. I want to be frank with you. I'm angry and I'm concerned. Last week marked the 50th anniversary of Watergate, which was a scandal that led to a series of felony convictions and the first resignation of a United States president. And it tore at the very fabric of American society. And a scant 7.5 years ago, another scandal rocked our nation, threatening the very core and foundation of our republic, that being, of course, Deflategate, where in an AFC championship game, the NFL footballs, the pigskins, the rock, the pill, the hand egg, the melon, and the leather was mysteriously underinflated by 2 PSI, pounds per square inch. This led to a multifaceted investigation, months long, thousands of dollars spent. Where the GOAT, Mr. California Cool, the real Slim Brady, the master of the tuck, the Lord of the Rings, Tom Terrific, Tom Brady was suspended by the league. Mr. Commissioner, I'm sure you're aware that many in New England worship Thomas Edward Patrick Brady Jr. as a demigod of sorts. And being a New England native myself, I don't blame him one bit. So my point here, sir, is that this country simply can't afford another scandal, and particularly a preventable one. So I'm surprised that in reviewing the league rules to prepare for this hearing, this critical hearing, we uncovered that the NFL requires footballs today to be inflated to a gauge pressure of between 12.5 and 13.5 PSI. And the rules don't state and specify the temperature at which these measurements are to be made. And the pressure temperature law states that there is a positive correlation between the temperature and the pressure of a gas when there's a fixed volume and mass. So how can we, Commissioner, guarantee the consistency of the PSI levels of footballs moving forward?
Well, Congressman, it's been quite a while since I focused on this issue, but I'll tell you, our procedures now are that our game officials make that check prior to the game. And so they are the ones that do that individually, and then the balls are under protected order from that point on. They are not allowed to be tampered with from that point on. So I think hopefully we found that consistency and make sure that the rules apply to everyone and that they're applied equally.
And Commissioner, are you currently in New York City?
Yes, I am.
All right, so you're at sea level, and we're here in Washington, D.C. at sea level. So, sir, what do we do in Denver at Mile High Stadium with 5,280 feet high above sea level? And how do we account for the variances that could and do occur when there's differing atmospheric pressures vis-a-vis the PSI in your balls?
Well, Congressman, it's one of the reasons why, and several of your colleagues have mentioned, that we had a lengthy report following Deflategate. And the reason why is because we had several studies that went 50 pages or more talking about these exact issues. I can't recite exactly what they were at this point in time, but they considered altitude, they considered temperature, they considered all those issues and the variance. That's why that report was so lengthy, is because we wanted to put those procedures out as well as the research that went into that.
Well, Mr. Commissioner, I'd like to offer my sincere apologies because this hearing, as I said earlier, I'm angry and upset because this hearing is a sham, and it's a farce, and it's a clown show, and it's a terrible waste of your time as the CEO of a multi-billion-dollar privately held enterprise. It's a waste of this committee's time, and worst of all, it's a waste of the American taxpayers' time. We're here suffering inflation at a 41-year high, 8.6%, gasoline at $5 a gallon, highest than it's ever been in our history. We have a southern border wide open, more porous than in 250 years, and the drug cartels are making record profits, and this unchecked narcotics trafficking has fueled an opioid crisis, which is directly responsible for the deaths of 100,000 Americans. And early, that's why I mentioned I was angry and I'm upset. And we're here harassing the NFL, and I might add, engaging in a partisan, bizarre witch hunt of an NFL team and trespassing without just cause into the internal affairs of a privately held entity when we face these other crises on multiple fronts. Quite frankly, it's disgusting, it's a disgrace, and Madam Chair, we can and must do better. I yield back.
Thank you, Mr. Fallon. And we're going to have the ONDCP director next Monday, so you can direct those questions about the drug trade to him. We are going to now call on Mr. Khanna